What's up, everyone? It's Austin, and today I'm going to be talking about push-button airlock doors with security lockout. This video comes by request, so we're going to go ahead and start with a quick demonstration. The question was, how can I have a set of airlock doors that cycle automatically with a button? And so the idea is that you come up, you press the button, it opens the first door, you enter, it shuts that, opens the second one, and then shuts that. You can time them to whatever you want. I have them set to 2 seconds just to be quick, but they are adjustable. So as far as the build goes, it starts with power over here. I always do the power bank in my demonstrations just to show you these options. If you want to know more about this, I'll link that video for you. But other than that, coming out of the battery here, this runs to a branch. This is just a power distribution branch that you should have if you're doing stuff with multiple circuits. And so its branch out is set to 15 rust watts. That's what it requires to run this whole thing. So not terrible if you really want something like this. 15 is not too bad. And then once it arrives here, that 15 arrives at this first branch down here. This is a good opportunity to pause the video and build this as I have shown on the screen. Once you've done that, the items that you can't see was this blue line coming out of this power out of this first branch is running over to the HVHF sensor over here. Its output is running back. This orange line is running back to this AND switch. It doesn't matter which side of the AND switch you use, so just take it to the AND switch. The first timer here is always going to be the second door that opens. So this one is running to over here to that second door over there. So you're going to run that to a door controller above the second door you want to open. I put these door controllers here just to, so you can see them, but you would want to hide these. Watch the door controller video if you want to know more about that, but be more clever with those. The other one you can't see is this pinkish purple line that's coming out of the branch out of this one above the second timer, and that's running over to the first door. So that's going to be the first door that opens whenever you run that. So run that to your door controller attached to your first door that you want to cycle. And then the last thing you couldn't see here was this white line is connected to the button over here, the button's output. It provides its own power recall, so you don't have to power that. It'll send one on its own. And that's just running to the toggle on. That's what runs the system. So that's it for that. As far as configuration goes, you should, again, have 15 rust watts arriving here. 12, you're going to set your branch out of this first one to 12. The remainder that comes out, so you have 15 arriving, it uses 1. You got 12 here and 1 and 2 here. That's just to run that HVHF sensor and then come back to the side over here. So you're going to set this to 12. That's going to run to the first one. These two are going to be left in their default configurations because the way it works, it sends out what it needs on this power out over here. So 2, pass 2, and just whatever. It should have 6 coming out of here. And that 6 comes down to this AND switch, passes through to here. And then once this is running, you end up passing 4 here. And you could save run 1 rust watt if you wanted by using a splitter here instead of the branch, but I don't like how big the splitters are, so I often just sacrifice that extra rust watt I need by using a branch. So as far as configuration goes, that's it. As far as power distribution, the timers this is going to be obviously how long the doors are open for. So I have these set to 2 seconds. But whatever you want the doors to cycle one with, you would just set that. You can use decimals as well if you want. And that's literally it. The only other setting is the HVHF sensor over here. You want to make sure that it's set to exclude authorized, include others. It's very important that it say exclude authorized, include others, because you want it to trigger when you are present and not when an unauthorized player is present. So the reason that I added this HVHF sensor to this is that there needed to be some security, because if I were to say de-auth myself from this TC, so I'm no longer authorized, it's no longer registering me because I'm not authorized. Let's say I go in here, I've got another button in here, which I'll explain here in a minute. But if I can, even not authorized, I can use buttons. So you can't just set this system up and use a button, because anyone could walk up and use it. So it's very, very critical that you put a security lockout on this. And the way I've done that is I've added this AND switch. And so you can see that when I'm detected, the AND switch has both sides have power available. And so the AND switch, the way it works is that in order for it to pass power, it must receive power from both of its inputs, A and B. If it doesn't receive both, it won't pass power. So right now it's passing power to both because being detected, because I excluded myself from this, I'm able to use this. It runs in, cycles through, and it closes. Now, if I were to make myself invisible with the admin vanish, if I make myself invisible here, Now you'll notice that I'm not detected because the game can't see me, and so this AND switch is not passing power on one side, which the HPHF sensor provides. So now if I were to come up and try and use this button, I can use it, I'm mimicking a player not authorized, I can use it, but it's not going to work because the HPHF sensor will only pass power if a appropriate player is present, an authorized player. Now, another thing to keep in mind that makes, you might say, well, what if I just sub this AND switch out with a blocker? You can't do that because, yes, this would block it. You could set this to block a player who's not authorized. If you use a blocker and they destroy this, so it's kind of the opposite idea, they destroy this, then the blocker remains unblocked and then they can use the button. So you want to make it such that if they destroy that HPHF sensor, it won't work. And in this case, if you were to destroy this HPHF sensor, it would destroy that second power side and prevent a player from using the button. So the AND switch and the HPHF is a really good way to go about this. Maybe not the only way to go, but one of the simplest ways. And so lastly, you could, if you wanted, I don't really recommend this, but you could, if you wanted, place a blocker here, and you could put a splitter here, and you could route, if you wanted, off of this power, you could route that into this blocker and the blocker through the AND switch, and then put another HPHF sensor up here, such that if someone came by that was detected, it would shut the system down. But the way it is in this way, the simplistic way, this is still probably the best way. I mean, if you do something like this, you're taking a little bit of a risk anyway, but that's why you'll notice that inside here, I have placed, shotgun traps, so that if a player were to sneak up on you and follow you in here, they're going to be killed by especially 3 shotgun traps. So if you use it and you run and they follow you in, you might both get killed right here, but the raider's body will be locked behind that door. So just make sure that if you do something like this, you consider some kind of defensive thing. This is also why I went ahead and just added a second door controller. If you don't know this, you can pair multiple door controllers to the same door. So I added a second door controller so that, let's say, you have this AIRLOCK, but it is directional, right? So if you don't feel like making this entire system again and spending another 15 Rust watts, which is, kind of ridiculous, you could just add a button to a door controller on the inside, which, yes, any player could use, but if they're already inside this AIRLOCK, it's unlikely that they got through this door. They probably came through this door anyway. So you could use this by placing a button, and when the button depresses, it's going to close itself. So if you want a door that auto shuts behind you, and very simply, just add a button on the inside and it'll close itself when you leave. And then when you go the other way, it uses the other door controller, cycles through, and closes. So that, folks, is just about all I've got on that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. Otherwise, you can get me on my Discord. See you later.